This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Monday, May 15th, 2006, and this is episode number 100 of Walt Disney World Today. I'm Matt Hodgberg from mgmstudios.org. There's a full house on today's show, and we're going to be starting with Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio, who is back with us. Welcome back, Mike.
Hi, thanks for having me back.
Anytime, Mike. And we also have Len Testa of the Unofficial Guide to Walt Disney World. Welcome, Len.
How's it going, Matt?
Outstanding.
Matt, I understand this is our 100th episode of the podcast.
It is.
And so in Disney tradition, I would like to offer our listeners a celebratory theme for the next 18 months. And I know that all of our... it's a glorious 18-month celebration. I know that our listeners can't go to Walt Disney World all the time, and we try to bring some of Disney World to them. So the theme, I think, for the next 18 months of our show should be WDW Today. We've got your magic right here.
Oh, very nice.
Now say it with a New York accent.
Hey, we got your magic right here.
We got your magic right here. Oh, one other bonus, if any of our listeners are flying into Newark and they happen to be staying at Mike Newell's house, he'll be picking you up, taking you to and from the airport. Absolutely free. Now availability is limited on this offer. Act now. There'll be discounts on Now Savers later on.
We also have Mr. Mike Scopa of MousePlanet.com. Welcome, Mike.
My goodness, you're all staring at us. We better start the show rolling.
And the very lovely Mary Waring of MouseSavers.com is here also. Welcome back to the show, Mary.
Thank you very much for having me back.
And we also have Sue Pizzatoro of Small World Vacations back for this episode as well. Welcome, Sue.
Oh, it is always a pleasure to be invited, so thank you.
Anytime. And we're going to be talking about a lot of different things, so let's get the ball rolling. First thing that's going on, whenever we have Mary or Sue on, we like to talk about some upcoming changes that are coming to Walt Disney World in terms of booking and planning and saving money and all that stuff. And probably the biggest way to save money at Walt Disney World is free dining, which is coming back this end of the summer. Mary, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about it?
Well, if you book a vacation package, a special vacation package, you have to have a special code to do this. With Walt Disney World this fall, that's for August 13th through September 30th, you book a basic Magic Your Way package, which is your room plus your ticket. You get free dining, which consists of one table service meal, one counter service meal, and one snack per day. That is a really fabulous deal, and for a family of 4, you could save about $100 a day.
Well, it's certainly great. I mean, a lot of people used it last year. Mike Scopa, you really took advantage of it last year, didn't you?
Yes, I took advantage of it last year, and I'm taking advantage of it this year. And I can reinforce what Mary said, that it is a very, very good deal. But I also want to point out that it's important that you really do some research and really make sure that you plan ahead so that you know exactly where you're going to eat, and you should book as soon as you have your date set. As soon as you book your room, it's really worth your while to call up and make your advanced dining reservations well in advance, because with this kind of a package, people really book the restaurants really fast.
That's a very good point.
That is, they're already booking up now because of the 6-month window. So I would encourage people to make their advanced dining reservations ASAP.
Any other free dining tips, Sue, you want to share with our listeners?
Absolutely. One thing I would encourage people to do is, if they're on the free dining plan, especially if they are thinking of going, eating in the theme parks, I would encourage them to purchase the ticket hopping feature. Also, so that they can really fully take advantage of the extra magic hours. But I spoke to some guest services down in some of the resorts, and they said the number one thing people request when they get to the hotel is during their vacation is they have the hopping. So that's an important thing with this free dining, to make full use of the dining. The other thing is, people should know that this must be booked by June 3rd. To be eligible, and it's space available. It's not like you just book it and you get the free dining. It's of limited quantity as far as resorts and dates and things like that.
One of the best tips that I've found for free dining, I actually picked up from Mary Waring on one of our previous shows. Because I'm an annual pass holder, obviously I'm not that interested in getting the tickets for the length of my stay. And Mary, of course, has the great tip of if you are an annual pass holder and you still want to take advantage of it because it's a great deal, Mary. You can take you need to buy at least a 1-day pass, and you can take that pass and apply it towards the renewal of your annual pass.
Exactly.
So that's a great tip right there.
Yep, we did that ourselves so that we could try out the dining plan last fall because we were already annual pass holders, and so we just bought the 1-day ticket, and then I took the tickets up when we. Actually, I think we found a way to use them because my husband's annual pass had expired, but I do know lots of people have used them toward their renewals. So.
Hey, Len, what's your reader feedback been? I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are complaining about free food, but
I mean, the reader feedback on the dining plan has been almost uniformly positive. People love it. One of the interesting things that we do with the Unofficial Guide is we ask people how much they spend per day on dining in the Disney theme parks, and the average Unofficial Guide, the size of the average Unofficial Guide family is about 4 people, 3 of which would be adults under the plan, 1 of which would be a child. And they say that they spend about $122 on 2 meals inside the parks per day. Now, Scopa and I have been talking about this for a couple of weeks, and we think the number's a little low.
Right.
But given those numbers, we think the dining plan is a good fit for quite a few people.
But Len, it could be low because they want to keep it low. I mean, I'm sure that there may be some people who would prefer to eat at Le Cellier, at Chefs de France, at Alfredo's, but are looking very carefully at their budget. So I think their numbers would be low.
It's one of 2 things. Either people are trying to keep a handle on their budget, or, and I think this might be true as well, that after you're done with your vacation, maybe you haven't kept track of every single dollar you've spent on snacks, for example. So $122 sounds for 2 meals for a family of 4 inside the theme park sounds a little low to me. And so my guess is it's probably close to the number. I think it's maybe $15, $20 low. I'm guessing that it doesn't include snacks because that's because it's around $15 per person per meal. I think that's with water being $2. I think that's just a little short of what it probably is. But even so, I mean, in that range, the dining plan is still a good deal.
Speaking of snacks, Disney has expanded the number of items you can use your snack credits for recently.
What are some of the things that are new in terms of snacks?
Quite
I love
a few
that.
bakery
I love that
items.
one of the fine print things says it has to be edible. I love that.
I thought
how
so
many
too.
questions do they get?
Edible, non-alcoholic, non-merchandise, and non-souvenir.
Is edible a relative term? Is that up to your own?
You mean ingestible or edible?
They're not promising you'll
a
consider it edible, but they haven't considered it edible.
So what are some of the things that they've added? I think there are. It's a snack under $4, right?
Pretty much anything that's under $4.
And they indicate it with a DP on the menu board.
Yeah, that's a nice
like
touch.
dining plan.
Yeah, that's going to be very helpful.
Right, so there's a lot of ice cream items, no longer just the pre-packaged ice cream bars, but now you can get, if it's under the price, for the most part, many of the ice cream sundaes and floats at the counter service and snack cart locations, smoothies, nachos, quite a few bakery items. Some people even reported you could buy in the food courts in the resorts that some things like big bags of potato chips were now marked.
Really?
Which surprised me. I mean, things that were not single servings. I haven't been able to confirm this personally, but I've heard it from a number of people. So
that's interesting.
One of the sorry, Len.
I was going to say the other interesting thing we get off of the survey is people's favorite restaurants outside of Walt Disney World. Typically, the best Italian food, for example, is something like Olive Garden. And I think for the money, I think literally it is Olive Garden actually for best Italian outside of Walt Disney World. I think for the money, if you're on the dining plan, and someone on this show tell me if I'm wrong here, but I think Alfredo's is probably a better choice than Olive Garden if you want something close to authentic Italian food. And the dining
Again,
plan
back to that
is more comparable.
I was going to say that depends on your relative. What was that word? Edible. So I would definitely choose Alfredo. Sorry,
Yeah, I
over
agree.
Olive Garden.
Yes.
Now, one of the other programs that's going on, in addition this fall, is a program called Magical Beginnings. Mary, why don't you explain to our listeners what exactly Magical Beginnings is?
Well, I'll preface this by saying that Disney's really hyping it, but it's basically a repackaging, for the most part, of existing programs, and the idea is to it's a marketing effort to encourage people with small children, that's preschoolers and toddlers, to come to Disney World during the slowest time of the year, which is that same time period that they're offering the free dining, August 13th to September 30. They're calling that now Little One's Travel Time. That's part of their Magical Beginnings program, and they're putting on some additional shows, live performances at Playhouse Disney in concert in Disney MGM Studios, so that is something they are adding. And they're also adding some additional extra magic hours, which is early entry, 3 days a week, to Fantasyland only in the Magic Kingdom, which obviously has all the rides that appeal to the little kids. The extra magic hours in the mornings that they're adding on during that time period are available to any resort guest. You do not have to purchase the special Magical Beginnings package. And in fact, the Magical Beginnings package is exactly the same as the free dining package. It just has a different name and a different code. But
So it's like the Dumbo of promotional packages, where they just keep taking the same the same attraction and putting it everywhere.
Exactly.
right. You paint it purple instead of green. Or whatever.
Hey, Len, how does the extra magic hours at Fantasyland work? How is that going to impact touring, planning your trip, those kinds of things?
It's going to impact touring, obviously, because Fantasyland will already have a couple thousand people in it by the time all the other regular guests get there. So it'll be it'll be like any other extra magic hour day if you're an offsite guest, and you'll already have that many more people in the parks ahead of you. Now, Mary, let me ask you this question: have they already scheduled extra magic hours for Monday, Wednesday, and Friday anyway in the parks, or are these in addition to some other extra magic hour days?
Well, that's a good point. They're pretending that this is something they're specifically putting on for this purpose, but I've noticed that they have increased the number of extra magic hour days quite a bit because the parks have been so busy. So it may be that this isn't really. I haven't had a chance to sit and look at the calendar and see if they actually have put on.
That's going to be the key, because if they've got 3 more extra magic hours in addition to the one that they had already had, and I guess it was Sundays or Thursdays previously.
They keep changing it around. It kind of
Yeah.
depends on season. So.
But if you had little kids, like this is meant for people with children 5 and under, and this isn't in my world anymore, but the Wiggles are going to be there. I mean, that's
Really? Australia's biggest
yeah,
Super
the Wiggles are going to be, and I mean that's huge. And then in Hollywood and Vine, they're going to have JoJo and Goliath, and Little Einsteins, yeah, we'll meet at Hollywood and Vine. So this is, if you had little kids and you wanted to go during a slow time, this is really, might be really of interest to you.
Well, I know that my friends, I'm going down with friends of mine who have a 2-year-old, and this program has specifically attracted them. They'd never obviously brought their child down to Walt Disney World, being that she's only 2 years old, but perhaps instead of waiting until she was a little bit older, this program has attracted them to it, especially the free dining program. So it's mission accomplished for Disney if that's what they were aiming for.
Well, it's a great fit for Disney because this is a time period when everything falls off because most people's school-age kids have gone back to school. But obviously kids 5 and under are not in school. So it was a very clever idea on their part to market this to people that age.
Not to mention, it's during hurricane season.
Yeah, so Scopa
Yes,
can't
not
go.
to mention that.
So this must also tie in with, they relaunched Playhouse Disney with those CG animated characters, and I think Jim Hill had written something about Disney was afraid that they had lost an entire generation of kids to Nickelodeon and other things. I wonder if this is their attempt to get those younger children back in the Disney fold.
It makes sense.
Jim had written a pretty decent article about this, where there were 3 or 4 or 5 years worth of kids who didn't really have any special affinity to any of the core Disney characters.
Well, one of the other changes that's going on, and Sue, I think you might be the best person to talk about this, is the summer season in 2007 is coming, and I know that we're not all looking quite that far ahead, but it's important to know that there are changes for next season. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, for next year, Disney's starting. They've, as far as I can see, at this point, it's only related to the value resorts, which are the All Stars and Pop, and the moderate resorts. And it will be for 2007. It's a new season. It will be May 24th through August 4th. And it looks like the hotel rooms are going to be $10 more per night than they are during what used to be the regular season. For instance, next year during the regular season, which is April 15th through May 23rd, a standard view room will be $165, where now during the summer season it will be $175 a night. This is at a moderate resort. The one good thing about this is the regular season at the value resorts and the moderate resorts used to extend all the way almost till the end of August. Now Disney's starting the value season on August 5th. So if you can travel during the summer and you can come, August 5th or after, you can save a lot. For instance, the same room that would cost you $175 in July will cost you $145 in the middle of August. So it's just something for people if they're flexible and they're looking to make their plans for next year. They might, consider going towards the middle of August. Plus, the middle of August, the parks just seem to. Disney's doing this because the parks, thin out during the middle of August because the southern schools are back in classroom. So it's a great time to go. I usually did go every year that time because of the light crowds.
Great.
So how much do the moderates go up in price from in 2007 from this year?
I don't know, Mary. Do you know that?
What's a value season?
That's a good question.
Because I'm thinking, if you want to look that up while I rant
I'm
for a
just
second.
taking a quick look here.
At $175 or $185 a night for a moderate, I'm staying downtown Disney. I mean, you can find decent hotels in downtown Disney for $100 a night.
And specials on mouthsavers.com.
Very nice.
Not to give a plug or anything.
Where did I hear that from? Yeah, I mean, but you can find really decent hotels, big rooms, all the amenities you want, rooms that test well with the unofficial guide for $99 a night. I mean, why? I mean, at some point in the near future, Disney's got to have some sort of moment of reckoning with its moderate and its value resorts, where people just say, you know what, it's not worth it. And I can't imagine that $185 a night for peak season for a moderate, they're not close to that line right now.
Now, Sue, you said for the summer season in 2007, the price for standard view moderate is going to be, was it $175?
Yes.
Yeah, summer, yeah.
Okay. Well, this summer, you'd pay $155. So effectively, it's going up $20 from this year to stay in the summer.
Think about that. It's almost
That's a big
6 days,
jump.
7 nights. That's almost one night extra.
That's a
And
good
there's
point.
so
It
few
was a
discounts.
13% increase?
That's right.
A 13% increase. How much did inflation go up this year? Like 3%?
Well, this is the special Disney inflation.
Yeah, exactly. Squared.
Quadruple.
Like you're in Bolivia, like some sort of currency devaluation going on there. Oh, I'm sorry, we're pricing this in dinars today. Did I tell you?
Well, guys, this being episode 100, Mike Newell has a little surprise for us before we end today's show. Mike?
Yeah. I just put a little bit of something together. I'm just gonna. That's our little look back.
Ah, man.
And emphasis on the mistakes that the three of you guys make.
Oh, great.
Quick, let's get the lawyers.
I better settle in then.
Get the lawyers on the phone.
It's Monday, September 12th, 2005, and this is episode number 1 for Walt Disney World Today. I'm your host, Matt Hochberg, and to my right is the man behind the unofficial guides of Walt Disney World, Glenn Testa. Welcome, Glenn.
Hey, Matt. Pleasure to be here.
Outstanding.
I'm doing outstanding tonight.
This is Mike Scope of Walt Disney World Today and MuchPlanet.com. Join me and the rest of the WDW Today crew. All right.
Rats, exactly.
That's the one that we should run, though.
Watch us eat our own on this episode of WWE Split.
Well, I guess I'd have to say that my favorite resort is Pop Century.
That's why they call me Thumper.
Thank you for visiting the wonders of the living seas. Please come back and visit us again soon. There's always something new and exciting for you to
The
discover.
hydrolators.
And by the way, they're real and they're spectacular.
I'm Matt Hodgberg from MGMCeries.org. On Todoshi. On.
Oh, do.
For you to say. Yeah, doing the Swedish Chef doing the show today. Alright, let's do that over again.
This is Mike Scoper of WDW Today and MousePlanet.com. You should pick me off.
What?
Were you putting mute on?
No, it was Newell. It wasn't me.
He said WW today.
It's Friday, March 10th, 2006, and this is episode number 72 of Walt Disney World Today.
We're gonna have to post something in the on the show notes about this, 'cause no one has any idea what we're laughing about.
You can also email us at questions@www.com. Questions. Well, that's it for us today.
I'm sorry, it's over.
Good night, folks.
That was good, Mike.
That was great. Well, that is it for us today. This has been episode number 100 of Walt Disney World Today. If you want to find older episodes, all 100 of them, read our show notes or send us your comments, visit the Walt Disney World Today website at www.wdwtoday.com. You can also email us at questions@wdwtoday.com. I'd like to thank our guest, Mary Waring of mousesavers.com. Thank you, Mary.
No, you're very welcome.
And also Sue Pizzatoro of Smart World Vacations.
See, Pizzatoro.
See? Of wdwvacations.com, right?
Yes, that's correct. Thank you very much.
Great. And so for Len Testa, Mike Scopa, Mike Noel, Mary Waring, and Sue Pizzatoro, I'm Matt Hodgberg. We'll see you on the next show.